Hello, Happy New Year and welcome to the Beer Jerk Drink Along. I'm Luke. I don't sound very sure about that, I'm definitely Luke. This week we are drinking a beer from Shortjaw. So this looks fantastic, doesn't it? So the Beer Jerk Drink Along is where we all drink a different beer every week and we find out the story behind it, history of the beer style, we send out an email with tasting notes, we do an album match every week, and we get to discover beers from breweries that perhaps you might not have tried before internationally, as well as fantastic small breweries all over New Zealand. Shortjaw is one of New Zealand's newest breweries, and it was kicked off about a year ago by a chap called Luke Robertson, who's and his partner. So Luke's a Kiwi guy that had lived in Melbourne for a very long time and was working as a beer writer. So he's a very good writer. I definitely recommend you look up some of his stuff. He's got some good books out. But mainly he did Ale of a Time, which was a really great blog and good podcast as well. The podcast's on a bit of a hiatus, but check it out. There's lots of really good episodes in there where you can learn a lot about the Australian beer scene. But home called, and he moved back to New Zealand to Westport, which is a place I've never been to. I don't know what happens at Westport. It seems pretty isolated in the world, but there is some good beer there now. And it wasn't a brand new brewery. It previously was a brewery. I think it went through a few iterations at Shortjaw. I think it was called Minus Brewing Company at one point. And he set about updating everything, bringing in some new recipes, new designs, new ideas, and has shaken things up a bit. And the beers have been very well received. So some Shortjaw beers were pouring at Beervana earlier this year, and I had so many people talking about how great the mild was. I didn't get to drink it because I was too busy working, unfortunately. But yeah, that's sort of the story of how Luke's got things kicked off in his old hometown. The Shortjaw is a breed of fish. It's, I think whitebait is made up of maybe 4 or 5 different species of fish, and Shortjaw is just one of those species. So whitebait, if you don't know, are those, they sort of look like little tadpole baby fishes, and people catch them and fry them up in fritters. But it's probably not a very sustainable thing to do because all those fish are very endangered, so maybe don't eat whitebait, or do. I'm not the police of your barbecue. So, cool name, really cool branding, and a pretty delicious beer. It's a modern pale ale, is what. Obviously, Luke, being a beer writer, thinks a lot about things. So it's a beer that sort of falls outside historic beer styles. And by modern, I suppose that just means that it's hazy, it's pretty opaque. And it's the style of pale ale that's really come on the back of these New England IPAs that have taken over the world in the last decade. And it's a hazy pale ale, so it's got a lot of body to it. There's oats in here, there's wheat in here. So those tricks that wheat beers and stouts used many years ago to give beer a lot of body is now being used by pale ales and IPAs. So this beer's got a really nice round, soft mouthfeel to it, and it's not overly bitter whatsoever, but it's got a really delicious hop profile to it. And the hops in this beer it's nice when brewers write the hops in a bit about the ingredients on the can. I always find it really really useful as a drinker. So it's made with Wakatu hops, which are basically Hallertau. Well, they're not Hallertau. It's an offspring of German Hallertau. I think it's 2/3 that and 1/3 some unnamed New Zealand hop. So it is a modern hybrid that was developed by New Zealand hops in the late 80s, and it's a bit of a good all-rounder hop. It's good for bittering, good for aroma. Pretty similar to what you'd use Hallertau for, which was of course one of the 4 original noble hops from Germany. So Hallertau would give you a touch of spiciness, some citrusy notes, and Wakatu is pretty similar, but more New World, I suppose, which is a bit more aromatic. And Wakatu, the name, actually comes from the Maori name for Nelson, which is actually Whakatu, W-H. But somewhere things were lost in translation, and the hop got called Wakatu. The other hop in here is another fantastic New Zealand hop, which is Taihiki, it's written on the can as Cascade. But Cascade is an American hop, which again, is a child of historic European hops. Cascade was bred from Fuggles, the fantastic Southern English hop, and I think Cascade was bred with a Russian hop, perhaps, or maybe I'm misremembering my hop history. But it's certainly a child of Fuggles, and Cascade just being the hugely popular big C hop of the USA, mainly grown around Yakima, Washington, and lots of aroma of, again, citrus. Really, you get some lime character. But Cascade is one of those big C hops that really made American IPAs change everything in the way that we all look at IPAs back in the 90s and noughties. So NZ Cascade is called Taihiki, and it's pretty similar to Cascade. It's the same hop, but again, it has a New Zealand flavour to it. So you're getting some lovely citrus aroma off here. I'm getting definitely some lime character. It's a really well-rounded but still smashable beer, as it's designed to be. It's a 4.5% beer, so great beer to enjoy in the sunshine. It is not very sunny here today in the first week of January in Auckland. It's pissing down, so hopefully by the time you get to drink of it, to drink this beer, you'll have a little bit of sunshine, because it is fantastic in the sunshine. But really great to be trying a beer from a fairly new brewery. And I'm really excited about seeing what else is going to be coming out of Luke's brewery, and if he's going to do some more packaging. I definitely do need to get down to the South Island West Coast and go and check out the spot. It looks like a brilliant location to visit. So nice work, Luke, and thank you all for joining us. I'll see you again next time. Cheers.